Welcome back to the Haddonfield Horrors podcast, where we review horror movies and horror franchises. I'm Mark,
I'm Tawan.
I'm Elion.
and today we're reviewing Pearl, released in 2022, written by Ty West and Mia Goth, and directed by Ty West. Elion, can you give the people the plot summary?
Trapped in an isolated farm, Pearl must tend to her ailing father under a watch of her mother. Lusting for the glamorous life she's been in movies, Pearl's temptation and repressions collide.
So, Pearl, the prequel to the smash hit X. I was kind of interested in seeing Pearl's backstory after seeing that crazy old lady rape and kill some people. I was interested. I kind of wanted.
All I think when you said that, all I could think of was the scarecrow.
Oh yeah, she did. That poor scarecrow. But it was interesting and like this. She was crazy, and I feel like Twan undersold Pearl for me because this is you didn't hype it up enough, Twan. You left out how
Well, like,
good this movie
why would
was.
I? No, I didn't. I definitely didn't. You just didn't watch it. It's
That sounds so true.
2025 now, Mark. It is 2025. Pro released in 2022.
You didn't hype it up enough in this movie, and Pearl is so crazy and bright, and there's a lot going on. Like, weird scenes and callbacks. Like this is how you do a prequel. Like you give us enough, but you don't give us too much. Like I don't need to know what happened with Pearl and Howard when he got back. I mean, I kind of want to know more, but like in between that 60 years. But I feel like this is like a good starting point. This was a good movie.
Yeah, I really liked Pearl. It was honestly interesting because when you saw X in theaters, they showed like a slight preview of Pearl at the end, like after the credits. And I was like, "What?" Like, I didn't know. I didn't even because apparently it was like filmed secretively. So, at the same time, so like seeing that like right after, like I was a bit confused. And then of course I looked it up after and was like, "Oh shit!" Like there's something else releasing, and it was the same year and everything. That I'm like, I love shit like that when something's followed up like that quickly. So that was really cool that you got that like both of those in the same year. And I liked the movie a lot, though. Like I thought Mia Goth, she did like amazing job with the character, and even helping to add input and help with the writing process of what she felt like Pearl would be in this time period. And I like how different it is from X. Like X is a bit more like gritty and like more kind of like
I saw.
yeah, I get what you mean, but it's like a bit more gritty and like a bit more like slasher focused. Whereas we get to Pearl and it's like oh, it's bright, like it's like all bright, like hella colors are everywhere. Like it looks like oh, it's a lot of possibilities that could happen. But then you have Pearl, who's like just she's unhinged. Like obviously at that time, like people she probably like they weren't as in tune with probably meant like certain mental health struggles as they will be now. But like she, and I'm not to want to I'm not going to diagnose, but she obviously has some untreated like mental issues, and
We
it
got a
was
lot
just
going on.
I
yeah, and it
think
was
like
just so you
I
couldn't
think he's a
really
psychopath.
something about Yes, no, something about sociopathy actually.
yeah, and it was just like you couldn't really do much about it because, like at that point in time, they just put your ass in an asylum or something, and that's it for you. So
Got your shock therapy. You done.
yeah, so it wasn't really like much that you could really even do with the type of personality that she had. So and especially as isolated as she was, just basically only having her mom because like her dad couldn't do anything. So exploring all of that with the way that the character was, and then especially right after X. It being the same year, it's still pretty fresh if you have seen the first one. So it's all like it all kind of came together really well for what we got.
Honestly, like it was actually a really good film in my opinion. One, it was like the psychological horror aspect, but also like how disturbing it is. It's one of those like those movies that pulls you in because you kind of like you understand Pearl's dreams, trying to get into like the big screen or trying to get that popular, especially during that time. But the way or like her actions are because of like basically her mental illness is just horrifying in my opinion. I thought Mia Goth did a really good job playing Pearl. And she really like sold that. Like she sold it, like especially with her emotions. She showed like these complex emotions, in my opinion. Actually, what I liked about it is like how, especially like in a horror film, you see it like it's always like gloomy. Like the movie itself was just like very bright and colorful. Like it made it look like, it's just like this old fairy tale and all this stuff. But it's told in such like a twisted way. And I think that's just more creepier because it's just like it kind of just hides, like it's just a facade. Like it's not reality. But honestly, I really did like this film a lot. Like that's what I'm trying to say. I like that where I'm trying to understand Pearl and how her life basically fell apart.
Oh, what are some scenes that stood out for you guys? Good, bad, or different? I do want to kick it off by saying I kind of felt so bad for her doing her audition scene because she thought
Don't
she
make
was
me do
killing
it,
it.
please. Don't make me do it.
Man,
Don't make
No,
me
but like
do it.
she genuinely thought she was killing that audition. And then you're seeing the judges' faces, and they're like, "No, this is not okay. This is bad." But like, she's having this whole like imagination, this big musical number. She really thought she was doing her best, but like, baby girl, you really weren't. And that screech, "I'm a star." I was like, "No, get off stage."
Stop!
I'm like, where?
Stop!
Like, where's Simon Cowell? Where is the drunk Paula? Like, get this lady off the stage. This is not. I felt so bad because she really wanted it, and like, I wanted her to get it so bad. I was like,
yeah,
and she just gets away from the farm and the family, and I just knew it wasn't gonna happen. I felt so bad. But what about y'all? What are some standout scenes?
no, yeah, I felt the same, especially about the that scene in particular, the
I
audition,
was laughing my
because
ass
you
off.
like it was like the only thing she wanted. Like that was the only thing we heard her character talk about the entire time, and like we knew she wasn't going to get it, like just off principle of like the way the movie was, but it sucked even more to watch it because you could tell like she thought she was eating that shit up. Like she thought she was giving the performance of a lifetime, and
She
I,
thought she really thought she ate, and I was just I was like, no, bro, you not.
damn, and I felt so bad for her because like it was nothing that could have been done about it. Like we never saw her practicing or anything. Like it'd been different. I feel if we saw like her commitment to doing it, like we saw her practicing and like stuff like that. But it was she just kind of had the attitude was like I'm a star, I'm gonna do this, like I'm gonna put myself, I'm gonna make this happen. But obviously it don't work like that. Like you gotta put in work even if you just do want to be a little dancing, what they call them, flapper girls, I think they were. Like if that's what you want to do, like girl, you gotta practice it because nobody, like unless you just got it, which we never saw you have it, you
Well,
gotta
you're
put in
right.
work.
There was never a scene of her actually practicing. And there were a couple scenes of her like dancing randomly, but there was like no practice scenes. Now that you mention it, huh?
Yeah, she just kind of thought it was she was the it.
No, I was just gonna say, like, it is heartbreaking. Not just like, obviously, she did put what she thought was her best, even though it wasn't the best. But what I was trying to like just say about that specific scene itself was just that, like, it kind of is like a reality check, not just for her, but just like for people, like outside of the film, just to show, like, at the end, your dreams may not come true at all, and that's kind of like the worst part because some people can relate to that kind of to that feeling itself.
Hmm. Yeah, I get you. Another scene for me, which was my favorite. I love a good monologue in a motherfucking horror movie. Like it's something about it. But when she gave that monologue sitting across the Misty as to like what she would say to Howard if he was like there in that moment.
We can love each other. I'll do that for you. If you really meant all that, till death do us part. It'd be enough. Just you and me here on this farm. All I really want is to be loved. having such a hard time without it lately.
Moment, like that scene was so good. I was like, oh, she. I was like, Mia
Oh,
Goth she is
it was
giving.
it was locked in that
Yes,
entire scene.
No, I was locked
But
in so much.
also, in my head, if I was Misty, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm dead as fuck."
Oh, gotta kill this bitch. No, for real.
Could have attacked. She should have attacked or ran. Like Misty, girl, get out, get out.
No, like that was such a really good scene. Like I always love shit like that, like a little monologue moment, like like back in like Hereditary when the mom did it to the son at the dinner table. Like we love a good monologue moment. That like shit like that. I love when an actor can do it and you could just tell like their commitment to it. They did it in one take, like and like just the emotion that was coming across from Pearl, like you could tell that even though she probably didn't want to. She really didn't care about Misty in that moment. She just needed to get that off her chest because it was like after that point she locked in.
but I just do want to add up, like, it was a really strong scene. Just because, she actually opens up about open everything up, like her fears, jealousy, that anger that she had. It was just like a raw and intense emotion. It was just like, it was just real. It just really stood out a lot. And like,
Mhm.
it was not only did it stood out, it was actually one of the most memorable scenes in my opinion of the whole film.
That's kind of how I am about that part too.
Another scene for me, really quick, was when she rolls her father to the edge of the dock. I was
Oh
like,
my
Pearl,
god!
ain't no way, Pearl. Please, I'm like, you've been torturing this man, but now you're finna feed him to the fucking to the alligator.
I'm leaving soon. I can't stay here any longer. Howard was supposed to take me away. It'd be easier for me if I didn't feel like I was abandoning you.
I wasn't ready. I felt so bad for the dad, for the dead, because I
No,
was
yeah,
just
the
like,
dad was like he was just a
he
sitting
really
duck.
do
He
that.
couldn't do a damn thing.
The mom had to go though. Every scene with the mom, I was like, lady, I can't wait for her to kill you.
She irritated me.
The mom was definitely like added to like she was just like it's like some Mission Impossible shit where they got like the ticking time bomb. Every time the mom spoke to Pearl, it was minutes coming off that motherfucking bomb until this bitch
Mhm.
popped. Like she was just a ticking time bomb with her. I think the last thing for me was when um I forget the gentleman's name, but he was the one who's going to be Superman now. When he came to the house to
He is
like
so
speak to
And
fine.
her,
the projectionist, we never got
he was.
his name, but he cute as hell.
I
He
feel like
never
we
had a
did
name, I
get his
think.
name.
No,
He didn't give her a name.
we, we
No, he
never
didn't.
we
Oh, okay.
Projectionist, that's it.
Yeah, well, when he came to the house and like was talking to her, she's like, why won't you love me?" Like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my god, she gonna kill him. Like, he was just trying to be nice. He really was trying to be nice to her. Like, yes, they did whatever, but like he was just trying to be nice to her, and she, she was just too intense. If she had
you
just
can't
dialed
be
it
nice
back,
to everybody.
she's just, yeah, you're right, but she just dialed it back a little bit. She
She was
probably could have
missing
had
a
him, but
lot.
yeah, but yeah, she fucked up her good thing.
She fumbled that bag hard. Like, girl, he was cute. He probably did. Like, you wait how long, and then you gonna kill him? What about you,
Pissed me
Alien?
off.
Um, there was some scenes, but I kind of like viewed all like my scenes in like a psychological perspective. I know it was like like to for example, like like I was just talking about the scarecrow scene. It kind of just showed how isolated she basically was, and she's not able to. She's very sexually frustrated as a person herself, especially coming from like her mother, who was actually very religious and kind of basically never let her allow to express herself basically. um I did want to also say, like, when she was talking to the animals, it kind of just showed, especially with the cow and goose, it just kind of stood out because it showed her loneliness and how she really like she needed that need for connection. She didn't have it. Like it was cute at first, but you kind of realize, at the end, it's just like it kind of shows like the psychological aspect, like humans need like connection. Um, I think another one for me was the dance fantasy, like she was dancing in the barn. um it just revealed like how she's just trying to show her dreams as a star, and she just shows like the mixture of like kind of like joy and desperation, and it makes it like it's fun, but it also shows like the desire or need of her to be successful, or in order like like a way to get out of the life that she is, because obviously she's not happy with the farm life at all. Like
Mhm.
it's just like a true like it's like a manifestation of like I'm trying to leave. I'm trying to be big. I know I don't belong here. I can do better out there. Um, One scene that really stood out for me too, besides, obviously that we just talked about the audition scene, was her final smile. Like, even though she's trying to, keep it together, it's one creepy, but also kind of like, like it's heartbreaking. Like she's trying to keep it together, but obviously, her dreams shattered. And like I'm only just bringing these all these up just because like it kind of associates with like obviously it's a psychological horror, so like it makes you feel like a part of it and you can understand her portion, but it was the fact of like her isolation was the reason of why she is how she is.
Well, let's talk about some of the kills. What were some kills that stood out for you guys?
The kills that stood out to me, Mitzi's death, obviously. Like oh my god, Mitzi's death. Sorry, I'm just trying to like
That
put my words
whole
together for this one.
scene though, because right after that intense monologue, like knew Mitzi was like, you knew she was dead, and that
Oh, she was
slow
gone. She
like
was
that,
gone.
like she tried so hard and she was running, and I was like, oh, she gonna trip, and then she fucking tripped. I wasn't expecting to see her chopped up and then fed to the alligator. That was completely that was unexpected, but he
The
did old girl
projectionist
so
death was
wrong.
funny to me. I know. Projectionist
She
death is
stabbed
just like literally with a what's it called?
she
Pick. I
stabbed
don't
him
even know what
twice,
the
right?
fucking instrument is called.
The rake.
Yeah, literally. Didn't
Hmm.
he? Didn't he? She also throw him to the alligator as well.
No,
Am I
she
thinking?
pushed his
Am I just
car
thinking about Mitzi?
into. Well, no, she pushed him and the car into the lake
Yeah.
or the pond. So I'm guessing the alligator would eat him at some point.
Hmm.
I'm being so, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I was so happy when that her mother died. That bitch had to come in. Oh my god. Like, oh, like the amount of years, like, of the tension and like how she was repressed and like she finally threw that bitch. I was like, oh, and oh, I sorry, I hated that bitch so much. She irritated me. I felt bad for the goose. That's all I'm gonna say. I felt bad for Mr. Goose.
Yeah, I think for me it would probably just be Mitzi's, just because of like how much she wanted to die, because she obviously wasn't trying to live with how slow she was running. I mean, Pearl wasn't running that fast.
Help! Help me! Somebody please help! Help! Help me! Help!
Like,
She really wasn't. But also, see, you should have left out during the speech. Like the
yeah,
first couple after the first couple sentences, I'm gone. Bye, Pearl. And Pearl was
I would have
locked
been like,
in,
girl,
so you could
bye.
have got away. You could have got away because Pearl was locked into her speech. You could have been good.
yeah, she definitely should have left. Like it wasn't
She had to
giving.
come in. It was her
It
own
wasn't
fault.
giving. I care about my well being, which
Goodbye.
she definitely did not in that scene. Because like, Miss Girl, what are you doing? Like, you see, you like you are like, yes, I know your brother is with this girl, but you see they're weird. You see that pig been sitting outside when you pull it up for like a week. I need you to think a little bit.
She wasn't thinking at all because I would have been gone. Like I wouldn't have sat through that speech. She sounded unhinged during that speech. I would have been running away immediately. And I get you
Hmm.
trying to be a good sister-in-law, but like, nah, girl, fuck that. Fuck sister-in-law shit. Nah. I would say for me, I would say for me, the kill that stood out that really had any emotion was her killing the dad because he was just helpless the
Yeah,
whole movie, and like it wasn't really his fault that he was like in that state. The mom already hated him and felt burdened, and like you smothered this poor old man after you starved him for fucking a day or so.
Oh,
Like his death, I
like he
was
was
like that
just
was
like,
unnecessary.
yeah, like the dad didn't deserve anything. Like obviously, okay, yes, he didn't deserve anything for what we saw in the movie. Like we can't speak to whatever happened before that, but for what we saw in the movie, that man was completely innocent. Like he was sick. He couldn't do anything. He couldn't move. Couldn't do shit. So, like the treatment that he got for what we were witnessing was not comparable to anything, which kind of just goes to show a bit more like how you know her basically her like mind was turning on her like very quickly in those moments because once that flip like switched in her head, like it was just flip and never went back.
Well, let's talk about the characters. And first up are Pearl's parents, their mom and dad. Now, again, the dad was innocent. He was sick. He couldn't walk. He couldn't talk. He had no mobility. So I felt bad for the dad. Like, but from what you said, Tawan, we don't know what happened before he got sick. But from what we saw in the movie, the dad was just an innocent victim. Like the mom was horrible to him, but the mom was just horrible. Now, I don't know if she was like, frustrated or because she let being isolationist get to her, but like she was unnecessarily cruel to Pearl. Like you see your
Mm.
daughter's unhinged, but you keep poking the bear. Pearl's mom probably just need to get laid. Like I feel like she had the same problem as Pearl and X. Like she wanted some, and her husband couldn't get her none, so she batshit crazy. That's kind of vibe I was getting from the mom. But I was so happy when she actually got set on fire. Now I don't know if Pearl intentionally got that hot corn on water to throw on her, but I was happy that she did
yeah, damn
because
well
it
she
was
did.
needed. She got that boiling hot corn water and threw it on her mom. But what about you, Tumon? What are your thoughts on Pearl's parents?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about that. I forgot that she threw that water on her.
You
I just
forgot.
remember,
It was so iconic.
I just remembered that. I remember,
No, oh,
I
you
remember her
know what?
getting on
Wait,
fire.
wait,
But
wait.
I forgot that.
I'm not gonna lie. You know what it kind of reminded me of? Y'all ever watch Medea? You remember when
I
that grip ball? Y'all remember grip
Oh
ball?
my God. Wow.
fuck out of here.
Am I
But
wrong?
I definitely forgot that she did that. But yeah, she did that shit on purpose. I mean, hey, she tried to get it out. That's it's the thought that counts, I guess, right? But yeah, but the since I really won't go much into like the dad character because you, it's not much to really say about him. Like besides that we kind of already said, but yeah, the mom she just wasn't. I guess for what we could say is, including the time period, because once again we can't go into the past anymore than we already have with the story. It was like in 1918 or whatever. So like all the stuff that was going on, they're like a German family living in the U.S. They're World War I and soon to be World War II for some years down the line. So it was I'm sure I could probably understand like parts of like where the mother was coming from with certain things, just due to maybe what they had to go through to like get to the point that they were. But she was very she in the way that she treated Pearl, like she just treated Pearl like she was nothing more than like a live-in like worker for her. Like she didn't treat her like a daughter. She wasn't like doing motherly things. Like she was only just trying to, Pearl, you do this, you do this, you do this, and anything else is negligible. And that's not how
Yeah.
you're supposed to like. That's not how you're supposed to like treat your child. So she rebelled, and we get what we get with the character. Like I'm sure, I'm like we don't know what would happen, but Pearl could have been different if she got like a little bit slight support from her family and all that stuff. So we don't know what would have happened to be for exact sure, but um, her mom wasn't the best to provide that for her, seeing that the dad couldn't.
What are your thoughts on Pearl's parents?
Um, just to reroute, I can't really talk much about, Pearl's dad just because, he was obviously from what we see as a victim. From her mom, like as much as I hate her, I kind of have to look back and like, just like what Tom was saying, like, not only were they going through like the First World War, but also like Spanish flu and taking care of the farm, her husband, and it was actually hard for her. Um, so she didn't really have like the time to have like dreams or fun that Pearl wants. So, I think that was like her way of keeping her family safe, like, protecting Pearl from disappointment, especially during this time. But obviously she does not know how to show support or love just because, like what Tuan said, her mom, like Ruth was just like, do this, do that, do this, and do that, basically just treating her like basically a housemaid. And like, it just made and it just like she did the best she could, but in the end it kind of just showed like she really did not care as long as things were functional around, if that makes sense.
One, what are your thoughts on the projectionist?
Um, would have went with him wherever he wanted, cause well, I don't even, I ain't get no letters back from Hero. I don't know what's going on, so we gonna go we gonna go with Superman.
Definitely. It's that mustache, like, sir. I don't know what Pearl issue was. Like, he would have had me that first night, that second night, like, all the nights. If
This
he
is
died,
yeah this
she killed him so cruelly.
yeah this is where I personally found out about like him, this actor. So after this, when
Same.
I saw he was Superman, I was like, oh yeah, I see it. But as far as like his character himself, like he, I like that they didn't make him like cruel or intentionally cruel or mainly or having like ulterior motives. Like he really wasn't trying to like push her. Like yes, he probably was trying to like have sex with like Pearl's character, like which they did, but he wasn't like flagrantly trying to like push her to do anything she didn't want to do. And I like that they went that way with it because that could have been a different story. And I think going that way and then what we get with Pearl just kind of shows that even though she meets someone who she had like a slight connection with, could have possibly done something maybe a little more with because it wasn't what she wanted exactly in the way that the situation came about. Like she got mad and ended up killing him. So there wasn't really much that he could have done differently as a character. Well, maybe besides just dropping her off and then immediately leaving, but there wasn't much else that
Goodbye.
he could have done.
Well, we're gonna move on to Misty now. I knew from that first scene when we first saw Misty, I knew she was gonna be dead. I didn't know what the circumstances were gonna be, but I just knew Misty wasn't gonna get out the movie alive. Um, I pretty much knew once the judge guy was like, "We're looking for an all-American type of girl, blonde hair, whatever." I was like, Misty's the only blonde girl they showed. So obviously Misty's gonna win. And once Misty wins, Misty dies. And that's exactly what happened. Now, I was still like she's at first she said she didn't win. Then she kind of told Pearl that she won it, but she seemed like she was like nervously saying it. So she probably could have been lying. But I think at that point Pearl was gonna kill her anyway, so I don't think it really mattered. I just wish Homegirl would have actually tried to run. Cause like he spent like a good minute or two slowly walking backwards, looking at Pearl grab the axe. Like, ma'am, she grabbed the axe, kick off the heels, and run your ass down the road. Like, go into the field. Like, what are you talking about right now? Like, what's going on? What about you, Elian? What are your thoughts on Misty?
Obviously, she just comes off as friendly, outgoing. Um, she really did try to be nice and wanted to help Pearl, especially like obviously Pearl envies her because she kind of is like that privileged kind of girl. Uh, she doesn't like as much as she wants to help Pearl. She doesn't understand Pearl's struggle, especially like as much. Sorry, hold up. She doesn't understand like what Pearl is honestly going through, just because they live in a different kind of life. She does her best though. Um, but her best, like we obviously what we saw, basically led to her feeling more insecure, and made her more basically leading to her death. But it just kind of showed like, she was kind of like ignorant with bliss. Like she tries to be like she's so sweet, but when we see Pearl's side, we kind of see like how much she just was like how much Pearl just resented her because she's living the life that Pearl wants. But I also wanted to add, just because you said it, it's just like, girl, the minute I saw that axe being picked up, I would have ran. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she wasn't. Like I said, she wasn't caring about her well being.
She didn't want her
Freaking dumb
life.
blonde moment. Uh,
Well, I want to talk about Howard. Now, we only saw Howard for one actual scene at the end, but he was talked about a few times throughout the movie. And according to his sister, he turned his back on the family fortune to work on the farm with Pearl and her family, and then he joined the war. So I just wanted, like, what did Pearl do to him? Like, was it that good that you gave up the family wealth to work on the farm to raise cattle and shit with this crazy woman? Is it that good, Howard? Because what the fuck is going on? I mean, it gotta be really good because you came home to see your in-laws dead at the table and your crazy wife smiling at you and you stayed. Not only do you stay, you help her kill people and kidnap them at some capacity. And then when you lose your penis, you help her trap men that she can turn into sex slaves. So I need to know what voodoo trick Pearl put on that man, because ain't no way in hell is that good that I'm staying through all of this and becoming an accomplice.
Honestly,
Because
I
I
just
would.
no, my bad.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I
Go
was
ahead.
gonna say honestly, I just think they both just crazy each other now. Like they're both like crazy with each other because I mean we get X, so we see that um they've doing this for a while
Mhm.
and everything that was going on, and he was protecting her, and yeah, which also it does. I do wonder why he did go to war in the first place because with how um
I mean, maybe he could have also had like murderous intentions, and the war is probably like this. Oh, this is the only way I can really get this out without getting in any trouble. Like he could have also had issues of some sort because of the war or before the war. Could have
it's possible.
the war could have been his excuse.
Yeah, it's possible. I was just wondering. I mainly was just wondering because I'm like, I remember the family stated, well, not the family. It was Miss Mitzi who stated that they had a doctor who would have, um,
I lied for him.
yeah, basically lied to get him out of like going to war and all that stuff. So that was mainly just I was just wondering about it. But yeah, from what we get later on with them from X till now, he really wasn't given seeming like the type of person to like stand up. for himself, and I feel like Pearl probably kind of railroaded him a lot, just because
Definitely.
she never really had that control, so she got it with him, and that was kind of all that she could seemingly get
She
get
and she
control over.
probably used that and the guilt trip to be like, "You left me alone to go to war, and all this crazy shit happened. You see what happens when you're not here to protect me." And he probably was like, "Damn, well, shit, maybe you're right." But like, I want to see the conversation he has with her when she explains that she murdered his sister and fed her to the alligator. Like, I need to see that conversation
Oof.
Mm.
because, like, where do we go from
I
here?
bet he, I bet he went mad after that.
No, I doubt he did, honestly. But, come on, what are your thoughts on Pearl?
So Pearl, she's definitely an interesting character overall, and I think I like I mentioned a bit earlier how different this was from X, and this was more just like a character overview of her, which it's the movie is named after her after all. But um, we just get a more look into her and kind of how we get to that point of what she's doing, and then we get to X afterwards. But those I like those moments where we're just like there's not say not much going on, but we're just there with Pearl, kind of like experiencing it, like experience everything like from like her POV in a sense, and you can kind of just tell that something's just off with her because like she'll just be chilling, and then all of a sudden like she's on like 10 with the situation that's happening, especially like when she was dealing with the projectionist and then Mitzi, and like when she was in the barn and she just randomly kills like the duck, and you could just tell like with the character like something is off there, and we don't know exactly, but we also know that it's going to be untreated because we see like her character come back in X, so we know where it's going to lead to, but it's just giving us the little crumbles that we needed to kind of patch in some of the story.
Elian?
Obviously, she's the main character, but like I found her character fascinating, but also tragic. You know, she's someone who wants to dream of escaping, the harsh life that she has. She also has insecurities and desperations that are literally consuming her. And I kind of feel for her in that sense. Like, wanting to be, wanting that freedom, wanting to, do something with your life, wanting to, be big. Because I think we all had like that what part of our life where we kind of wanted to make it through. And just like it was just, her unable to like, accept rejection or, criticism. It just made her like a very resentful person. And that's what led her to what she is now. Uh I kind of feel like, even though she was like messed up in the head because of her sociopathy or any kind of mental illness that she might be suffering from, I kind of don't think that she was like full on evil. You know what I mean? Because she did have a she did have like senses of being innocent. She had that ambition, but she was just unchecked emotion, especially like we said, like she was isolated, so she didn't form these like these connections with people, or she doesn't know how to handle these connections. Uh, I can never like obviously at the end we can't justify her actions because of what she's going through. Uh, it just like the film did do a good job on like how it progressed, and that's the reason why she became who she was now at the end.
Well, Twan, can you give the people the behind the scenes info and facts?
So the budget for Pearl was 4.8 million and it brought in a box office of around 10.1 million. Some interesting facts. Pearl was secretly filmed back to back with X in New Zealand. Director T. West and actress Mia Goth co-wrote the script during a mandatory 2-week quarantine before filming X. This approach allowed them to utilize the same sets and crew for both films. The film draws inspiration from Technicolor classics like The Wizard of Oz and Mary Poppins, aiming to contrast the horror elements with a vibrant, colorful aesthetic. This stylistic choice creates a unique visual experience that juxtaposes the film's dark themes. Director T. West aimed for each film in the series to explore different styles and genres of horror. While X was influenced by slasher films like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Pearl was envisioned as a demented Disney movie blending melodrama and horror elements. A trailer was shown at the end of theatrical screenings of X in certain territories. Some critics' reactions: the film currently sits at a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. The Guardian praised West's directions and Gott's grandiose performance, assigning it a perfect rating of 5 stars and remarking, "Perhaps I shouldn't have enjoyed Pearl as much as I did, but it's clever, limber, gruesome, and brutally well acted. A gem." The New York Times named the character of Pearl one of the 93 most stylish people of 2022, highlighting her blood red dress, lacy blue bow, smudge makeup, boots, and the axe. Deadline Hollywood referred to the film as a new love letter to slasher film genre, and renowned filmmaker Martin Scorsese praised Pearl, describing it as mesmerizing and deeply disturbing. He noted that the film's vivid storytelling and Mia Goth's performance left a significant impact on him.
Well, enough about them. What about us? Elian, Tuan, do we cash or pass Pearl? Elian,
Oh, Cash. It's a great film.
Tuan.
Yes, I would definitely give a cash to Pearl. I really liked this movie. I thought Mia Goth did an awesome job in portraying Pearl, especially like directly after seeing X. And I just I like the idea of them like coming up with the whole concept of Pearl, and doing it at the same time as they film X. Like stuff like that, whenever it happens, is always cool. I'm really excited to see kind of the same thing play out with the Talk to Me guys as well. And yeah, it's just that whole concept of like doing a 2-in-1 or coming up with something else while you're already like filming this one and having it all connect back was really good. I think everything worked out great with Pearl and how they went about the visual style of it in comparison to X, how X was like really dark and gritty and Pearl is like very bright, colorful. So that juxtaposition, as mentioned by some of the reviews that we just read, were it worked out really well.
And for me, it's also a cash. I wasn't expecting this movie to be so bright and colorful and so good and so like depressing all at the same time, which is crazy because the movie handles like these heavy things of like isolation and being misunderstood and wanting to live your dreams to get out of where you're trapped in. And then, Pearl is obviously going through some type of like mental break. You have all that sad, depressing stuff going on, and then boom, it's so brightly red and green and colorful. It's like Dorothy landed in the fucking middle of Wizard of Oz. Like I don't know, it's it was a good contrast. It's a cash, and I can't wait to see what happens when we pop to the 80s and Maxine. So, but that's next week. Until then, good night.
If you like this episode, please be sure to check out some from the Haddonfield Horror Cemetery, where we've covered big franchises such as Friday the 13th, Halloween, and Saw, or one-off reviews like The Blackening or Hereditary. You can follow Haddonfield Horrors on Instagram and TikTok, where the host posts updates and mini reviews. Full episodes are available on several podcasting platforms, including Spotify, as well as YouTube. If you're listening to us on YouTube, please be sure to like and subscribe. The Haddonfield Horrors podcast is produced by Mark Smart, Tawan Griffin, and Elian Cordova, themed by Lethal Injection, and edited by Mark Smart.
The Haddonfield Horror Podcast is a letter to media production.
Should we do an intro?